Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, out of Nashville, Antioch High School shooting. 2 people dead, including the shooter, a female wounded, and another student grazed. We know that the female student who was shot and killed is 17 years old, and the shooter is also 17 years old.
Metro Nashville police later identifying the shooter as Solomon Henderson, a student at Antioch High School.
Well, Rory, we have a copy of what purports to be a manifesto that was posted on social media on an account that appears to belong to Henderson. This was posted shortly before the shootings, along with several photos which match the crime scene photos that we have seen. What is in here is extremely disturbing and chilling. It's horrifying. As you can see, it's thick. It's 51 pages long, filled with text as well as pictures. It starts with the title, "The West Has Fallen, Billions Must Die." He says, "This book is dedicated to killing everyone I hate. Death to all unworthy men, traitors, and infiltrators." It appears that he was radicalized. He is heavily anti-Semitic in here, says death to Israel, blames Jews for so many things, that they are, quote, poisoning our culture and rap, that violence against Jews should happen, retaliation and retribution for what they have stolen is legitimate and a good thing, he writes. There are many other racial and ethnic slurs in here. The N-word is used extensively throughout. But he says, "I am ashamed to be black." He posts a flyer from the neo-Nazi hate group Goyim Defense League. That group, you may remember, was here in Nashville last summer holding demonstrations. Then he posts a series of questions and answers, such as, would killing random high schoolers save the white race or something? And he answers, yes, if they were people of color. He writes, "Are you a victim of bullying?" He says, "I can't remember a single instance of being bullied personally, but says the media and attention seekers will say that I was, and other BS, like he was just a quiet kid." He writes, "Why did you attack a school?" He doesn't specifically answer that one, but then goes on to describe the various people who should be targeted. A long list of people, from presidents to journalists and children. Among the people who he says radicalized him, he cites Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, a hard-right anti-Semitic pundit who you may remember was here in Nashville again for those neo-Nazi attacks. He writes, "Do you plan to survive the attack?" He writes, "I plan on going out as a hero by blowing my brains with my gun while live streaming." And this is particularly disturbing because we saw video posted this morning on this same X account purportedly belonging to him that shows video labeled as a test. He includes a map of the school. Under the heading, "My Gear, Weapons, and Clothing," there's a photo of the gun and cartridges that match the photos of the gun that were also posted on that same account shortly before the shootings. There's a photo of a lock-picking kit. He also pays tribute to people he modeled his attack after and lists half a dozen people who committed mass murders. And finally, he closes with what he calls final remarks. What's interesting is that these are dated November 18th of 2024, meaning he'd been thinking about this for a while. And he writes, "I was so miserable, I wanted to kill myself. I just couldn't take any more."
Students to their family members from that high school. But I want you to listen to one interview from a grandmother who was waiting just to see their family member come back to them from that high school after this incident today. Take a listen.
Tonight, when it's all over with, I'll lay in the bed and I'll cry. Because I can't right now. I gotta make sure everybody's good. So
we're going to hope that she is going to get off the bus pretty soon, and you're going to be able to hug her. And what's that going to be like?
It's going to feel good because those other parents, they're not going to be able to do that.
We spoke just moments ago with a student who was in the class with the named shooter in this situation. She says she spoke to him several times and he was part of her class.
Everything was fine. He was actually in my class. The shooter is in my class at the time. Our lunch starts at 11:05. So the bell rings. Me and my sister are going to lunch like we always do. And again, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. I didn't see people whispering about anything until the fact that we get into the lunch. Again, still nothing seems out of the ordinary. Out of nowhere, I just hear gunshots and I'm 5 feet away from him. I see the lights and everything. I'm just like, what? And we just all take off running. Me and my sister got split up. I got split up from everybody, and I'm just running, like, didn't look behind me, didn't do anything. Kept running. I went all the way back to my classroom with my teacher, and she has no clue what's going on. I'm like, you need to lock the doors. Like, we need to find some type of safe grounds, because, again, this is not safe. They just got to shooting, not even knowing that it was the boy in my class that got to shooting, just based off of, like, assumptions. I'm just like, somebody got to shoot, and I just got to get up out of here.
Resource officers were tipped off that the boy brought a gun to school the day before and were waiting to search him when he arrived at school the morning. The gun was not reported as stolen.
Police department's SWAT team has cleared the building. We have identified the shooter, and the investigation is advancing now. A second individual wounded, also a female, is being described as a graze wound to the arm, and she is in stable condition at Vanderbilt. This investigation is being led now by the police department's homicide, and there is quite a bit of work to be done.
Tragic. 2025, January 22nd, 2025, we have a school shooting. A student brought in a weapon and fired off multiple shots. 2 school resource officers inside that school and a sign there.
We was in the cafeteria just getting lunch like every other day, and the shooter started. We kept hearing like gunfire in the front of the cafeteria. Then people looked around screaming, and we ran behind the garbage cans, and then we saw people getting shot on the ground, bleeding and stuff. And I saw me and my friends and everybody in the back, we all ran on the side door, crouching down. And I tried to help these people who was falling on the ground, getting pushed. And so I was running while I was doing that. And then we ran out the school, in the back of the school, near the football field, knowing that I can't do anything to help them. Just seeing them just get shot in front of my face like that. It's really heartbreaking, because it's like just seeing someone you know just die like in front of your face like that at any time is kind of really upsetting. And just seeing that you can't really save the person or help them, but you just seen someone just take their life like that in front of your face. It's kind of heartbreaking.
He was a monster, just killing people.
Absolute heartbreak at Antioch High School. Metro Police say that 17-year-old Solomon Henderson arrived with a plan.
This individual arrived at school on a bus and was actively a student in the school, went into the restroom, I guess, to retrieve his weapon, and then went into the cafeteria, firing multiple rounds in the cafeteria, striking her, and then before pulling the weapon on himself.
First responders rushing into the school, helping the wounded, and the SWAT team making sure that there were no other shooters. 2 other students were also taken to the hospital.
We did do 4 transports, all of them going to Vanderbilt. Then other assessments were done, of course, with student and staff when it was needed.
She's a tough girl, and when I heard her running and I heard the anxiety and the anxiousness in her voice, that is something I can't get out of my head.
This is a school, in my opinion, based on what I'm hearing right here, that is out of control. And shame, shame, shame on the administration that's running the school for not locking it down. Yes, there was 2 school resource officers inside that building, but this is a big building, a lot of students, a big campus. And if the students know this is going on, that people are sneaking guns into the school with no backpacks, this is known by the students. And if the students are saying it on national television while being interviewed by a reporter, it's in your face. They failed, and they knew this was happening.
They need to do more. And yes, I will have to think about it, about my son coming to Antioch next year. It's multiple parents, multiple students who are saying that this is a problem high school. If this has been revealed and exposed, here it is on the national stage, international stage. But if it was well known in the community, to the families, to the students, to the residents, then shame on that high school, shame on the powers that be and the administrators that are running it, because they failed. They failed today, and one young girl and many, many students are permanently damaged.
This is what Jesus modeled. He modeled community, so we didn't want to waste time. Our team here at the church has always been ready for whatever happens, good or bad. So this is what they do 365 days of the year, to be ready to do ministry.
Parents rushed to the side of the shooting at Antioch High School today, hoping to reunite with their children as SWAT officers surrounded the school, even busting through a shed in search of information.
Everybody was just getting up to go get their lunch, and then I just kind of looked over to my side. He was at the end of the table. His backpack was hanging off one of his arms, and he kind of reached for something, pulled it out, and just started shooting. I quickly ran out, but I did see some girl fall.
Was there a confrontation or anything between the two, or did he just...
No, he just pulled out the gun and just started shooting.
I knew him personally. He was in my class, and I didn't think he was anything like that. Like, I thought he was just a sweet, quiet person, but he wasn't. We were in ROTC together, like, this year too, and he was always top of the class, always doing his work. Our master sergeant loved him, and yeah. And to know that he did stuff about that and planned to do it, it's just like, you don't know how anyone really is.
Tragedy again in our schools. We need to do better. We need to do better, and I'm sending prayers and strength to the victims and their families, but we need to do better than prayers. And
we're never going to solve this problem if we don't deal with the root causes for why our youth are so violent. Until we can deal with the true root causes, we have to harden these schools. Our children are our most precious resource in this nation. Okay, we have to give them every chance to survive and to do great things with their lives.